What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio. This is the Draftkings picks and prediction show for UFC 292. We got Aljamain Sterling going against Sean O'Malley. We have a 12-fight card, a pretty good card stacked from top to bottom, especially this main event and this co-main event. Solid main card overall. I am here with Uncle Weezy and Monk. We'll kick it to you first. Weezy, what is up? Are you looking forward to some UFC 292?
Yeah, I love it, man. Pay-per-view cards always bring out the stars. A lot of great fights on this card from the very first fight of the night all the way to the end. Two of the Ultimate Fighter. I mean, I know this is probably the most watched season of the Ultimate Fighter ever. You know, so like Conor McGregor, superstar of the sport today. Superstar at doing cocaine too. I mean, my God, I did watch that whole season. That young man, he needs to find Jesus. I think he's got a problem. He's got a serious problem with that. But that is beside the point. We don't have to worry about that at all. We got a lot of good fights here. While I was doing the research for the show today, there's a lot of really good spots sticking out. I got some interesting stats lined up for you guys today. So I'm looking forward to chopping this one up with you guys.
Sounds good. And yes, McGregor probably does need some help. Monk, what is up? Are you looking forward to some 292?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say probably does cocaine, and I was like, probably. I mean, Jesus. Oh, my goodness. I'm really looking forward to this card, man. Some banger fights. I love the main event. I love the co-main event. I mean, my guy Cheeto's fighting. We get to see Mario Batista against Damone Blackshear coming off of a twister short notice. I mean, so some good fights. Holobaugh back again as well. And as long as they don't add any more fights, man, we should be good for this card to go on with the stats that we have.
Yep, absolutely. Before we get started and get into it, if you guys could please leave a like. Let's get these likes up. Also, subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio. We go live every Wednesday at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And now it is a great opportunity to shout out the Pub Sports Radio contest, the Pick'em contest each week. Right now, it looks like we got 19 entries. So, yeah, we had almost 100 entries last week. I think it was like 98. Let's see if we can get to 100 for this week. We got our guy Clinton there. Preston's in there. Big Show's in there. Nasty Nate's in there. Boston Nick, Tony, Rem Dog's in there. A couple names I do recognize there. I don't see Uncle Weezy in there. What's going on? You waiting?
I just made my picks last night, so now I'm gonna have to get my picks in. I appreciate the reminder. That's why we do this. That's why we remind you guys on this show, hey, sign up for the contest, because now you just remind your Uncle Weezy. So I'm gonna be putting in my picks.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm talking because I'm not in there yet, but maybe I'm a hypocrite. But yeah, guys, $100 the first, and it is a big card. Maybe it'll be more this week. I haven't heard anything about it, but typically $100 the first each and every week. And if you do win, you get points. You get a belt. Looks like I am a brown belt. Looks like I saw Boston Nick's a black belt. There you go, Boston Nick. Clint's a brown belt. So yeah, we'll see how that shakes out this week. But be sure to check that out. Post Sports Radio, free to enter and free money. All right, let's get that out of there. All right, and we're going to shout out the chat. Can't forget about the chat. We got Dixon Cider in the chat. We got Jussie, Randy Fowler, Foley One. We have it.
I can't let this continue. It's Olajuwon.
It's Olajuwon Dream.
I've heard Oliwan so many weeks, and I just can't.
He hasn't corrected me though.
I know. Last week I said next week's. This is the last week I said.
No, but I've said it for the past couple years.
I know. At first I thought it was like nice, hilarious, and then I was like, nope, I cannot let it continue.
What did I say? Oliwan?
Yeah, it's Olajuwon. Hakeem, the Dream, Olajuwon. Show some respect.
Number 34
two-time
on the Houston Rockets,
NBA champion.
I mean, I'm not familiar.
Well, he's
wearing a Chicago Bulls hat. Actually, it was the 2 years that Jordan was gone on his gambling suspension that the Houston Rockets won the championships, right?
Shout out Mario Ellie in the house. All right, come on.
I hate every sport other than UFC. So maybe I should get a UFC hat instead of this Bulls hat. I don't know.
You've seen
I actually do have a UFC hat.
And we'll move on. I know you've seen the Geico commercial with the guy wagging his finger. He's blocking everything and he's going no. No, that's Dikembe Mutombo. Someone tricked me. Who said that with the finger wag, Dixon? That was Dikembe Mutombo. You tricked me.
Yeah, that's Mutombo, baby. Long ass finger like Babu on Seinfeld, remember? Very bad man. But we're going off on tangents here.
Yeah, we are. My goodness. All right. Let's get into the fights to target. I'll start us off. Give me Andre Petroski going against Gerald Meerschaert. Looks like the fight doesn't go sitting around minus 260. I just feel like this fight honestly could play out so many different ways. Like I could see a Petroski knockout. I could see a Petroski TKO, a Petroski sub. I could obviously see a Meerschaert sub. I could see a Petroski decision. But all these ways that it's going to possibly play out, I see them all scoring very, very well. I have a lot of interest in this underdog price tag of Gerald Meerschaert. I mean, 7,400. It's tough to ever count Gerald Meerschaert out of a fight. He's live in pretty much every single fight. I mean, this guy has like 26 submissions on his record. So yeah, I think this fight is going to hit the mat, and when it does, Meerschaert's going to have a lot of opportunities. So yeah, 8,800 for Petroski. I think he has finish upside, control at them upside, takes an upside, minute winning upside. And Gerald Meerschaert, like I said, he's always live for a sub, always a big underdog as well, and comes through a lot of times. So I love this fight to target. I think the winner scores very, very well here. Monk, what is your favorite fight to target for UFC 292?
Love that play for sure. Petroski, what a beard on that guy. I mean, come on. Meerschaert got a decent little beard as well. I'm going to go with RoboCop and Denis Tiuliulin as a fight to target, man. These guys have fought, 9 times total since 2021. 8 of those times, either them or their opponents have made the optimal lineup. 7 times there was a finish. 3 times it was in the first round, and 7 times, again, either them or their opponent has scored over 100 points. 6,700 is a very cursed salary as well. However, if somehow Denis wins at the 4% win rate that it's at, then he's probably going on the optimal lineup there. And I really think what's actually going to happen is Rodrigues is just going to put this dude down. We were talking before the show, so I won't give anything away, but yeah, early finish, I'm hoping for Gregory Rodrigues, and at 9,500, I think he has a good chance of making optimal, even if he gets it done later. Like if this takes a round and a half or 2 rounds, I still think he puts up enough points per minute and his pace, which is fantastic, to get a good score. So give me RoboCop and Tiuliulin for the most owned fight to target.
Gotcha. And Uncle Weezy, what is your favorite fight to target?
I'm going to go with Sterling O'Malley. I just think that's a great fight. Whoever wins that fight's going to pile up a ton of points. Whenever you have cards with 2 5-round fights, you have to target those 5-round fights, especially in cash games. And both of these guys score well on DraftKings. 3.65 points per minute for DraftKings for Sterling, 3.81 for O'Malley. If this fight goes 5 rounds, both of these guys could even get to 100 points with those kind of work rates. Now, it's a lot less likely that happens simply because these guys are both pretty good defensively, but still, they have good work rates. Sterling could get takedowns. There could be knockdowns. There could be reversals. There's a lot of things that could happen here, and both these guys have got a lot of output. So I think that's a great fight to target this week.
Yep, absolutely. There's a couple other ones as well. I'm sure if Gordo was here, he'd be touching on maybe the co-main event. I think is a good one to target as well. But
agreed.
Gordo is not here, so he's not gonna be able to touch on that.
I also like the first fight of the night, Silva and Morose. I like that one for DraftKings.
I like it. And I think that one's sneaky as well. I think that one scores good. Dixon, Cider, I see your comment there. We will touch on all comments at the end. I have a nice star feature on the StreamYard. You can star the comments, and I'll be getting to those later there. If anybody else has any questions, just type them in. We will get to them shortly. All right, let's move on to the fight to fade. We'll start with our Uncle Weezy. Weezy, what fight are you fading this week?
I'm going to go with Vera Munhoz. It's really hard to see either of these guys getting a finish, and Vera is a very slow starter. 2.66 DraftKings points per minute for Vera, 2.85 for Munhoz are the work rates. So at that pace, these guys score about 71 points in a decision win. Maybe one of these guys gets finished for the first time in their careers, but it's pretty unlikely. I actually bet it just because the line – the fight doesn't go to decision line is just absolutely so cheap right now for guys that do have finishing equity in Vera and Munhoz, but they're both legendarily durable. So it is kind of hard to picture either one of these guys getting a finish, but variance rears its ugly head all the time. And if it does, this fight's probably going to be a lot better to target. But in my opinion, these guys are probably not getting finished. And if they don't, I think maybe the winner scores around 70 and the loser scores around 40 or something. So no thanks.
Yep, I went with the same one there, and yeah, this fight is heavily favored to go the distance. It's not too often you see a fight doesn't go to decision prop at plus 250, especially when both guys are like really good finishers, especially Marlon Vera. So maybe, like you said, Weezy, maybe this fight does finish somehow. Maybe Munhoz gets finished for the first time ever, and Marlon Vera cashes like a third round prop at maybe plus 1400. But yeah, I'm right there with you. I can't play this fight on DraftKings. Even if this fight does finish, I kind of think it's going to be Vera like late second, third round. So pretty obvious one there for me. Monk, was there any other fight that stuck out to you from a fade perspective?
Honestly, no. I mean, other than maybe the tough fights, but I'm only saying that because I don't fucking watch tough, so I have no idea. All I know is that the stats from each of these fighters, like 4 years ago, are complete dog shit. So, other than those, honestly, I was looking for one, and I really couldn't find one. That was my first choice, is Vera Munhoz. I'm a huge Cheeto guy, want to see him win, but I mean, Weezy broke it down perfectly. Neither of these guys has ever been finished in the UFC, I do believe. And the stats I gave you in the fight to target are the same ones I'm going to give you in the fight to finish, but to fade, but they're the opposite. Only 10 fights between them since 2021, only 2 finishes, none in the first round. 4 times someone was optimal, which isn't great, which isn't terrible, but it's not good for this card specifically. A lot of these fights, fighters have made optimal before. So again, I'll be rooting for Vera. I don't mind Munhoz either, but I think I agree with Weezy. This one probably goes to decision, and neither guy really scores well. So yes, 70, 80, maybe 85 points. At 86 and 76, that's not exactly where you would want it. So you're going to want more than that. So yeah, I guess I'm going to fade this one. Not a big fade card, though, for me overall.
Yeah, I'm not too high on the tough fights either. I think Hubbard probably wins a decision at 8,400. I'm not crazy about it. I think Katona probably wins a decision at 8,500. I'm not too crazy about it. So not too high on the tough fights, but we will see there. All right, let's move on to the fighter to fade. Monk, we'll start with you. Which fighter are you fading this week?
Well, normally, you know what? I guess this is risky, but I don't want to touch on Marlon Vera, and I love Marlon Vera, so I don't want to talk about fading him twice. I guess I'm going to go with Brad Tavares, and this is specifically based on his prior DraftKings history. I know he's fighting a Weidman that's had like 14 years off, had to teach himself to, learn how to walk again. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I got to teach myself to talk again, apparently. But yeah, I know all of this, and so this is a risky one to fade. But Brad Tavares, over 14 UFC wins, scores 71.6 points per win, guys. That's it. He's got the lowest ceiling by far on the entire card. Only one win out of those 14 that I mentioned has netted him over 100 points. Has a great takedown defense, so that hopefully will be put to the test here against Weidman. Also, it should be noted that Brad Tavares' average ownership not this week, but since 2021 is 11%. His highest ownership was 14%. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, but yeah, I had to double check that. I thought that was extremely low. It's going to be like, 25, 30, even more than that this week, just because of who his opponent is. So I think I'm going to be going under as far as my ownership to Tavares. So I'll be looking to fade him a bit. But again, this is very risky when it comes to Chris Weidman, because who knows what the hell's going to happen in there. He says he's going to come out and throw that kick again, guys. That's fucking scary as fuck, dude. I remember I almost got in a bad accident on the interstate once, and then I took side roads for like a month and a half after that because I didn't even want to get back on. So I couldn't imagine throwing that kick first thing.
Yeah, and Weidman also said today that he's going to be champion again, which only leads me to believe Tavares is going to finish him.
That's delusion.
Yeah, that's
vanity.
That's not good. But my confidence of Tavares did go up once he said that. For me, this might come to a surprise. I just hate this price tag, man. On a card where I really, to be honest, don't like a ton of dogs. I can't get to Ian Garry 9,600. I think he wins. I think he finishes. I think he scores good. But I like Rodrigues more. He's cheaper. I like Zhang Weili more. She's cheaper. I like Mario Batista. He's cheaper. Sterling, much cheaper. Petroski, much cheaper. I can't get to 9,600 on Ian Garry. He's priced as if he's going to starch Magny in 60 seconds. And I don't think Magny's, as much of a bum as people are really making him out to be. I think Magny can hang in there for at least a round and a half, 2 rounds. I think if Garry does finish, it's late. I don't think Gary's going for takedowns, nothing like that. So, yeah, I can't get to Garry at this price tag. Weezy, which fighter are you fading this week?
Sorry, when you said that Weidman said he's going to be champion, I started immediately thinking in my head, how many fighters at middleweight right now would I like line minus 500 over Chris Weidman?
Oh,
And I think I
yeah.
came up with like 8 or 9 names already. I mean,
let
like,
me count the ways. Yeah.
can you imagine what Anthony Hernandez would do to this guy? Weidman would gas out in 2.5 minutes and he'd be wearing Hernandez like a backpack. I mean, it's just hilarious to think, like I'm gonna have Tavares in my lineup this week, and he is a terrible Draftkings player. But 39-year-olds who had to relearn how to walk, who haven't won.
That's my son. That's my boy. That's my boy.
Oh God. So I'm sorry. What are we doing? This is fighter to fade?
I don't even know anymore. Yes, I think. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so I'm going with Damon Blackshear this week. And I think Blackshear is a really good fighter. And Bautista was training for a much different stylistic matchup against Cody Garbrandt. That being said, someone Blackshear's size, making 2 cuts down to 136 pounds in the span of 7 days, is the reddest of red flags. Bautista's a stud, you guys. I think Damon is not going to be anywhere even close to 100%, anywhere close to the guy that we've seen in the cage 4 times already in the UFC. You're just not seeing that Damon Blackshear after 2 weight cuts in 1 week. And that's if he makes it to the cage at all. I really think that Bautista is probably going to finish this dude simply because he's putting himself and his body through something that he really should not be doing, and then expecting to fight at a high level less than 24 hours later.
Yeah, I think that's one where I really want to see the weigh-ins. I want to see if Blackshear makes weight. If he does, I'd be kind of surprised. And if he does, I mean, imagine what he's going to have to put himself through to make that weight cut back to back like that.
And that's confirmed at 135.
He confirmed it himself. Heard it out of his own mouth.
All right,
it should be, unless Blackshear's a liar. I don't know. Some people lie.
You're a liar.
Some people, like Rosenstruck, lies about his height. He says he's 6'2". He's 5'6". No.
Pew pew. Shots fired, baby.
I gotta stop talking about crap about Rosenstruck. I don't want to see him out on the street. What'd you say? I'm not 5'6". Oh, that'd be terrible. I don't want to mess with Rosenstruck. Oh, that guy.
Yeah, but you're like 6'3", right, dude? So you could be like, you're not fucking 6'4" either, and I'm living proof of it. Because I'm like 3 inches taller than your ass. So you're a fucking liar. You're a knockout artist, but you're a liar.
No, I'm not talking crap to Biggie Boy. That's somebody I'm not talking.
It would be a bad idea.
It would be.
And you know what else?
Let's move on to our favorite underdog. And I'm kind of struggling this week with some dogs. I'm going to go with a very, very popular one. It actually concerns me because I don't think I've seen anybody on the favorite here. But I'm going to go with Marina Moroz here, 7,900. This money line is just crashing down. I remember earlier in the week, she was like plus 150, plus 160. Now she's like plus 120, plus 115. And I expect it to probably keep closing. But no, I like outside of that, I like Moroz here. I think she's going to be the minute winner. Could she get subbed early on? That's definitely a possibility. But she's going to be the much better striker. She's going to be the one more likely to end up on top, win minutes, get control time, takedowns. And she's going to have the better cardio down the stretch. I think she's very live for a late finish there. So I think there's going to be some line value there when this line continues to move throughout the week. And I do like me some Moroz, 7,900 as an underdog. Weezy, who's your favorite underdog this week?
It's funny you mention that because Marina Moroz is the inaugural Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week. I think
shit.
Yeah, man. I think she's live for a finish here. She already has a first round win by submission over Karina Silva earlier in their careers 8 years ago. So it doesn't really mean that much at this point in both of their careers. But I think she's going to go out there and expose Silva like she did to another Silva named Myra Bueno Silva a couple of years ago. And we see how hot Myra Bueno's been lately.
Very hot.
Marina Moroz won that fight. She won the first 2 rounds of that fight. Silva really kind of turned it up and turned it on in the third. but that's not what Karina Silva does. Karina Silva's front loaded, and that was an absolute war. So I really think Morose's conditioning, I think her boxing is going to be much better. She's a lot more accurate, actually, than and her accuracy is not great, but everybody's more accurate than Karina Silva at 20%. So, yeah, I think that this is a great one, and it's the inaugural Bootsy Collins dogs are barking pick of the week. So let's go, Marina Moroz.
Let's go.
Who makes drops make this man a drop immediately of just Bootsy being like, oh, so we can play it every time it's brought up. Please do that.
Yeah, we've got to get that some kind of video help. I'll get that video of him howling.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be wrong. Weezy, who was the fighter you were talking about standing at the Great Wall of China and throwing a tennis ball? Who's that?
I said that Jasmine Jasdavicius couldn't hit the Great Wall of China from 6 feet away with a tennis ball, which is mean. It's mean, but you know, because Jasmine is a bad striker, but she is a phenomenal wrestler. So, you know, and that's what I was saying about the Natalia Silva fight is that she hadn't fought any good strikers yet. So that's going to be an interesting matchup against Andrea Lee.
Yeah. Monk, who is your favorite underdog this week?
It's the last name Weezy just said, and we're picking all female fighters this week. I'm going Andrea Lee, big underdog against Natalia Silva. I don't think it should be this wide. Yes, of course, there's a chance that Silva can come out here and just finish her, but Lee is notoriously tough, and neither woman gives up a ton of points. Lee only gives up 88 points when she loses on average across 5 losses. So already I have a red flag when it comes to Silva. And if I have a red flag, I immediately look at their opponent for sure. In this case, Andrea Lee, 93% takedown defense. She has takedowns and ground control of her own. Has a few, I'm looking at the wrong. Of course, I'm looking at the wrong.
Yeah, you're looking at Natalia Silva. She's got
54% takedown deep, but the takedown offense, I was very confused. I was like 33%. That doesn't sound right. 58% for Andrea Lee, landing 2 takedowns per 15 minutes. She does give up over that as far as takedowns per 15. But again, she does work okay off of her back, depending on who her opponent is. And she's also $700 under her average salary. So average value per win is at 12x, guys, for Andrea Lee. So I think there's a possibility that she can pay off with some huge value here. Even if it goes to decision, even if she doesn't win and it goes to decision, she can still score pretty well, possibly hit 35, 40, maybe even more points in a loss, which would be pretty good for 6,800, even at cash, but I don't mind it for GPPs as well. So yeah, we'll give some female fights. Oh, last thing I'll say, we both picked flyweight fights. Flyweight fights, guys, make the optimal lineup 56.4% of the time. That is now number 1 overall across all weight classes, women's flyweight fights, most optimal. So don't sleep on it. Everybody's like 15% under the optimal rate of women's flyweight fights. They're rostering them at like 40%. So get in on that little tip right there.
Yep, I like Lee as well, and I have her in my cash lineup that we'll talk about later on. All right, let's move on to the prize picks section here, and hopefully everybody has their plays ready. So does anybody have prize picks pulled up? Because I wrote a play down. You do? I wrote a play down Monday, and I almost guarantee it's changed. So what I wrote down was Sean O'Malley fight time and less than 19.75 minutes. Has that moved?
It's to 18 now.
18, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. So it's moved a little bit. I'm still going to take the less there. I think Aljamain Sterling has a very good chance to finish this fight in the first couple of rounds. And obviously, if this is at range and Sean O'Malley can stuff takedowns, I think he's live for a knockout. I see a Sterling sub or a O'Malley knockout. I think this one ends early on. Weezy, what is your favorite prize picks play for this week?
So I went with a 3-legger earlier in the week, and one of the legs that I went with actually is even cheaper now. It's even at a better price right now. So I had Karine Silva under 12.5 fight minutes because Karine Silva has only went to a decision once in her career. She's a kill or be killed fighter, and she's been finished before by Marina Moroz, but now it's moved from 12.5 minutes to 14.75 minutes. So I like that even more now. I think that Marina Moroz is definitely going to be live for a late finish. And and Karine Silva is an absolute killer. So she's going to be live for a finish as well. I bet the under 2.5 rounds in this fight. So yeah, Karine Silva at 14.75 fight time. That's really good.
I mean, 14
Under.
points. Yeah, 14.5 and 14.75, right?
Yeah, 14.75. Yeah.
I don't think we'll see a 14.75 in a Karine Silva fight ever again. So might want to get on now. I mean, that just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I know Moroz is a decisionator, typically, but like you said, Karine Silva has been finished 3 times. So yeah, I like that as well. And Monk, what is your favorite Prize Picks play?
I will go with the other Silva. I will go Natalia Silva under 65.5 significant strikes landed. Yes, she has some pretty decent striking numbers, but Andrea Lee has some very good significant striking defense, third best on the card at 62%, which I do like to see, at least over her last 5. If I'm looking at over her last 5, 62%. So I know this is probably going to go to decision, which is kind of sketching me out a bit, but let's see. 45 strikes is what Natalia Silva put up against Teresa Bleda, and that was into the 3rd round. So she would have needed 20 more strikes just to hit that 65 mark. And I don't know, at that pace, just under 4 strikes a minute, if that would have happened. I guess it would have been pretty close. But I like we're going to be risky this week, and we're going to take the under on Natalia Silva significant strikes landed.
All right, so we got the less on Silva strikes, 65.5, the less on O'Malley fight time, 18, and then the less on Karine Silva, 14.75. There we go. Karine Silva money line parlay with RoboCop money line. I don't know if I'd parlay Karine Silva. If I play Karine Silva, I might play her like round 1, Karine Silva, because I think that's her path there. But let's move on to our favorite GPP play. And I'll kick this one off. I believe it was you, Monk, that touched on this fight a little bit, but I'm going with Gregory Rodrigues here, and he's sitting at 9,500. Yeah, I think he has just a significant advantage on the mat in this one. Denis Tiuliulin, this guy's been subbed 4 times. His takedown defense isn't great. His ground game's even worse. And I did hear an interview with Gregory Rodrigues where he was talking about how he needed to get back to what got him to the UFC, which was obviously the grappling. So maybe he's getting sick and tired of getting knocked out. And I mean, rightfully so. I mean, this guy gets hurt and knocked out in a lot of his fights. And he probably sees that, Denis Tiuliulin has a clear hole in his game. And if Rodrigues takes his fight down to the mat, I think he puts up just a massive, massive score here. If he wants to go out there and stand and bang with Denis Tiuliulin, that's giving him a path to victory. And I don't recommend that, but I still think he probably wins that fight as well. So give me Rodrigues 9,500. And I believe he's also Uncle Weezy's ass shaving the week, which makes me like him also much more. Uncle Weezy, who is your favorite GPP play this week?
Yeah, I had Rodrigues as well. Let me see. What else could I give you guys? Yeah, I mean, there is the chance that Gregory Rodrigues is going to get chinned, right? But when I went and watched the tape, this guy Tiuliulin is just awful. He's terrible. I mean, Greg Rodrigues is so much better of a striker than he is. So everyone has a puncher's chance in the UFC. Even Denis Tiuliulin, but there is legit nowhere that Tiuliulin is better than Rodrigues. I think Greg goes out there and violently shaves ass this week and puts up triple digits, and I think he makes it look pretty easy. So, yeah, 9,500, a good salary, as Monk told you, and I don't see Denis Tiuliulin getting this win, especially if Rodrigues grapples. He's gonna wear him out quickly.
Yep, right there with you. And then, Monk, who's your favorite GPP play this week?
Definitely had RoboCop up there, but I will give you Zhang Weili. I mean, she's got a fantastic Draftkings points per win number at 106.5, 130 almost point ceiling, which is the second best only to the aforementioned Gregory Rodrigues. Her floor is by far the highest on the card at almost 80 points on, when you factor in standard deviation with how she scores in her losses. And add to that, on top of all that, 104 points is what Amanda Lemos has given up in losses. So I really like this fight as a whole for DraftKings, but I think I'll have a decent amount of Zhang Weili as far as GPP tournaments go this week for sure.
There we go. All right, let's move on to our cash play. I'll kick this one off. I'm going with somebody super cheap this week that I do like for cash. Monk touched on her a little bit, and it's gonna be Andrea Lee. So there's a lot of plays I like up top. Like I'm trying to get up there in this 9K range. I want to get up and go up and get Rodrigues. I want to go up and get maybe an Aljamain Sterling or a Zhang Weili or a Mario Batista. And to do that, I'm going down to get Andrea Lee 6,800. Do I think she wins this fight? No, I don't. But I think she can make this competitive. You know, she's somebody that wrestles, mixes, and takedowns, and she's decently high volume on the feet, 4.19 significant strikes per minute. And yeah, I think, like I said, I think Lee loses, but I think at the very least she can put up a solid floor here. And I think the fight's going to be a lot closer than this line does indicate. I don't think Natalia Silva is going to go out there and starch Lee. I don't think I don't think Andrea Lee is Victoria Leonardo. And it's a big step up in competition for Natalia Silva as well. So I like Lee in cash games, so I can go up there and get some of these bigger price fighters. Weezy, who is your favorite cash play this week?
I'm going with Aljo. I like Aljo to pressure Sean, get to his back, and either win tons of minutes there or also potentially win moments by finishing the fight with a rear naked choke or a ground and pound finish. I'm also seeing a chance for Sterling to get a submission via a Sulayev stretch when he backpacks people. Those long ass legs of O'Malley, he can just reach down while he's got him backpacked with the body triangle and get that reverse knee bar, that Sulayev stretch. Either way, if Aljo fights the way I think he will, he scores huge and you'll be styling because everybody and their brother is on Sean O'Malley this week. And I think Sean O'Malley is going to be one of the highest owned fighters on this slate, bar none. So you get different by being on the Aljo side. And I do think that there is obviously a path for Aljo through the grappling in this fight. So I think he's a good cash game play this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I have him in there at the moment. Monk, who do you like for cash this week?
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to go with Andre Petroski over Gerald Meerschaert. I think he wins this more often than he loses, and I want this guy in my lineups, man. Almost 5 points a minute, allowing barely 1. Inside the distance, scoring almost 6, allowing less than half a point per minute, scores 105 on average per win so far. 3 of those 4 wins over 100 points. And let's see. Petroski is one of, and I don't even remember, 2, maybe 3. Actually, I think might even just be him. I'll have to look. Only guy to be 100, have 100% win rate in the UFC and a 100% optimal rate with a minimum of 4 fights. This guy's made optimal every single fight so far in the UFC. He has scored 88% of all Draftkings points that are scored in his fights. 88%. Just completely dominant for the most part. So Meerschaert is a guy that can get finished for sure. I think he's got 4 KO TKO losses in the UFC, and I think he has been subbed once actually on top of that. So I think Petroski's super dangerous, and I don't think that Meerschaert, let's just say I think Petroski keeps that thing going where he's going to get 5 optimal. He's going to be the first fighter to get 5 optimals and 5 wins. Volkanovski has 5, but he put up 1 in a loss. So Petroski's got the chance to become the first one to get 5 for 5. So I'm looking for that this weekend, and I love Petroski in cash.
There you go. Yeah, great stats there. Great score with Petroski. Let's move on to our value play, and we'll stick with you, Monk. Who's your favorite value play this week?
Let's see. I had Andrea Lee on there, but we've talked about her a decent amount. I'm going to go with, I already talked about her opponent. I'm going to go with Amanda Lemos. I think this is a decent little sneaky fight to target both sides of as far as Draftkings. It's not so sneaky because title fights make optimal lineup like 63% of the time. 5-round fights make optimal lineup about 62% of the time. So it's not too sneaky, but I don't know how much ownership Lemos is going to have. I think I might be looking to go over this week. She scores fantastically when she wins for the most part. She can get things done inside the distance, whether it be KO, TKO, or submission. She's scoring over 3 points a minute inside the distance, which was kind of surprising to me. I didn't realize that her numbers were quite that high. I thought they would have been a bit lower. Let's see. 43%. So I assume that's 3 of 7 UFC wins. She has put up over 100 points, which I do love to see there. And it just depends on what Zhang Weili looks like and what Amanda Lemos looks like early. I think Lemos has a really good chance to kind of stun Weili a little bit and really put her on the back foot. So I'm interested to see the first round of this fight, but I think Lemos is worth a shot at 7K. And if she wins, she could pay off that value tremendously. And even if she doesn't, we've got a 5-round fight here. And if it goes all 5, she could land enough strikes, maybe a takedown or 2 to really rack up the points, even in a loss, to put her close to that optimal at 7K.
Yeah, if this goes all 5, my ass is getting shaved because I have a big bet on the fight to finish. I went with the same thing though. Lemos 7,000. I think she has a really good chance to win this fight early. Like, she hits very, very hard. We've seen Zhang Weili knocked out early on before, and Zhang Weili is going to have to really mind her P's and Q's early on in this fight. Lemos is just dangerous, just very, very dangerous. So if she tries to go out there and go to war with Lemos, like, she very well could get knocked out. So I don't mind some Lemos, especially at that price tag. I'm gonna have a ton of Zhang Weili, don't get me wrong, but in terms of value, she was somebody that definitely stuck out at 7K. Weezy, who's your favorite value play for this week?
Yeah, it was Lemos as well, but I'm going to give you some reasons why Andrea Lee is a fantastic value. And I know we've talked about her, but I guess we're just all going to have the same lineup, and that's all right. But all right. I don't know how, low owned Andrea Lee is going to be, but Natalia Silva has looked phenomenal so far. And as a result, I don't know how many people are going to be punting with Lee this week. This is a much different stylistic matchup for Silva, as she's fighting a much better striker than her last 3 opponents, who were Jazz Davicius, Teresa Bleda, and Victoria Leonardo. Those girls are bad strikers, and Lee's a very good striker. Silva will be smaller. She's going to be at a 4-inch reach disadvantage in this spot. So this could look like a much different fight. And here's a fun stat for you on Andrea Lee. Guess the least amount of DraftKings points Andrea Lee has ever scored in a UFC fight.
53.
I love this game. It's got to be 41 and a half.
Yeah, it's 38.64.
That's huge.
But that's in a lot of fights, you guys. And she, in her 5 UFC losses, she's averaging 52.5 points. In her losses, that's what she's averaging.
She's got 5 of them.
Yeah, and she's got 5 of them. So, this woman is scoring points big time. And as long as she's not out there getting finished, she's a great punt option, a great way to save money this week. Great value play, great punt, because you really need to get up to Gregory Rodrigues. And if Blackshear looks like death warmed over on the scales, you're going to want Bautista in there. You're going to probably want some Petroski. You're going to probably want some even some Brad Tavares this week. So in order to get to those salaries, I think Andrea Lee's a no-brainer this week.
Yep, absolutely. So we're all gonna have Andrea Lee in our cash lineups, and that's perfect. All right, so let's move on to our dart throw. Yeah, I'm not honestly completely sure who I'm going to go with, so I'm gonna pass to you guys first. Monk, who do you like for a dart throw this week?
I have a couple, but I really don't like any of them. So the first thing I actually wrote down, it just says any of the tournament guys. Any of the tournament guys, good dart throw. I mean, literally throw a dart, dude. Flip 2 coins and figure that shit out on your own. Like, just pick one of them. I mean, I assume what are our ownerships? Their numbers are terrible. Ownership should be less than 25% across the board for these fools. So yeah, just pick one of them. That's my dart throw.
Yeah, same. I mean, there's not really a dart throw I like. I mean, obviously, Lemos, if you want to consider her a dart throw, but we already talked about her. We already talked about Lee, who I guess could be considered a dart throw. I'll go with one of these tough guys. I'll go with Cody Gibson, 7,700. He's going to be much bigger in this matchup. I think he loses. He's favored to lose. I think last time I saw Katona was like minus 175, minus 185. I just liked how Cody looked in the tough house. Like, even with an injury in his last fight, he went out there and dominated from pillar to post. So yeah, give me some Cody Gibson. But yeah, that's about it. Not much sticking out from a dart throw. Weezy, anything you like from a dart throw perspective?
Yeah, it's Kurt Holobaugh this week. He's a finisher. He's definitely a guy that relies on winning moments. When you watch this guy fight, he's not really a minute winner. He's not going to be a guy that you go out there and say, "Oh, I'm going to get 4 takedowns. He's going to land a lot of pace." No, he's going to stay in your face. He's going to try to land big shots, and in the scrambles, he finds submissions. So if Kurt Holobaugh wins, he's finishing Austin Hubbard. And Austin Hubbard kind of likes to get submitted a lot. Kurt Holobaugh, let me get my stats up here. I got an interesting stat for you guys on this one in terms of how these guys win and lose fights. So Kurt Holobaugh in his career is 9 wins and 1 loss to the submission. And Austin Hubbard is 2 wins and 2 losses to the submission. And we also know that Holobaugh does walk forward. He's like a zombie on the feet. He's going to bring the fight to Hubbard. My pick is Austin Hubbard to win the fight by decision, but I think all the finishing equity is on the Holobaugh side. And at that price, 7,800, not a bad dart throw this week.
There we go. Let's see what the Holobaugh submission prop was. Looks like it's plus 850 best price.
Cheeky. That's a cheeky bet, Brady.
Yeah, it definitely is the cheeky. He said it himself. He said he's going to get the guillotine against Austin Hubbard. He said Austin Hubbard's going to shoot it and he's going to snatch up his neck. So let's see if he's right on that. All right, so what we'll do now is, if you guys have not already, be sure to hit the like button. Secondly, if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, type them in the chat. And then thirdly, we're going to get to our lineups from last week and then give our lineups for this week as well. So last week, we have in fourth was Monk. He had Jacqueline Amarim, Martin Budai, Francis Marshall. I forgot to say the score. So Amarim scored 119, Budai 119, Marshall 2, Dos Anjos 49, Dobson 81, Poliana Viana 18, Monk scored 390.78. And third was Uncle Weezy, Amarim 119, Roundtree 107, Blackshear 114, Marshall 2, RDA 49, JP Bays 1. We scored 395.41. Somebody say something? Did you say something?
Well, yeah, I had JP Bays in there and Marshall in there. They combined for less than 4 points. That hurts. That's as a DraftKings expert, I want to tell our audience how bad it is to do that. Don't do that. Don't put 2 guys in your lineup that are going to combine for less than 4 points.
Yeah, it's never a good thing. In second place was myself, McKinney 102, Amarim 119, Blackshear 114, Juliana Not the Killer Miller 10, Isaac Dalgarian 121, and Poliana Viana 18, scoring 488.30. And then in first place was Gordo, McKinney 102, Amarim 119, Blackshear 114, Luana Santos 116, RDA 49, and JP Bays 1.6. Gordo scored 503.75. And then overall standings, we are currently 28 cards in. In fourth is Monk with 10,948. Third is Weezy with 11,334. And second, myself, 11,803. And then in first place is Gordo, 11,821. I'm 17 points behind Gordo. We got Weezy 487 behind Gordo, and then Monk 872 behind Gordo. I want to say I'm going to pass up Gordo this week, but I literally hate my lineup so much. There's 5 fighters I like in my lineup, and I'm just struggling with the last one. So I'll kick it to you guys. We'll start with you, Weezy. What is your lineup for this week?
Let me look at my lineup. I've got I wrote it down. Okay, Gregory Rodrigues up top. Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. Brad Tavares, not a good DraftKings player, but a really favorable opponent in Weidman, who's coming off a serious injury, a 2.5-year layoff, and he's been finished in 100% of his losses. Aljamain Sterling, Andre Petroski, Amanda Lemos, and Andrea Lee.
We have 3 of the same. Monk, what is your lineup for this week?
I'm definitely changing mine. We have 5 of the same fighters. Yeah, I had Gregory Rodrigues, Aljamain Sterling, Andre Petroski, Cheeto Vera, Amanda Lemos, and Andrea Lee. I think those 2 dogs are going to be really big this week. I did have Mario Batista instead of Sterling, but I changed it before the show. So we could go with that, but I'll probably just try to get a little different. But yeah, I think that's a decent cash lineup with those guys like me and you had there, Weezy.
Yeah, for me, and I'm guessing I'll change this, but maybe not. I'm going to take Gregory Rodrigues, Aljamain Sterling, Zhang Weili, the 3 up top. I'm going to take Marina Moroz. I'm going to take Andrea Lee. And then this is where I'm kind of struggling because I hate everybody else. Like my options are Cody Gibson, Pedro Munhoz, Gerald Meerschaert, Sean O'Malley, Chris Weidman, Damon Blackshear, and I hate them all. But I guess I'll go with...
you got to go with Munhoz, right? Biggest floor, right?
It's between Munhoz or Gibson.
Going to go to decision. Munhoz going to decision with Vera.
Yeah, but he's so low volume. I think I might just take a shot at Gibson. I don't know. Give me Gibson for the last slot there. But I hate it. I mean, this is probably my least favorite lineup of the year. So maybe that's a good thing, though. Maybe it'll be a good thing. All right. So we got the lineups in. We got everything else in. Now it's time to hit up the chat and answer some questions. And Dean likes Cody, so there we go. I like
Nice.
it. All right. Let's go to Dick's Insider. And this one can go to Monk. He says, question, did you hear Petroski telling Ariel Helwani that he's coming for the title of most submissions in the division? He's been calling for it for a minute versus GM3. Do you believe him, or is it deception for a knockout? What do you think? Petroski knockout, KO submit. What are you thinking?
KO possibly more likely, because Meerschaert, like I said, has been finished 4 times via KO, only once by submission, and obviously we all know of Gerald's submission and ground acumen. But no, I think Petroski's telling the truth. I think Petroski wants that sub on his wall, you know what I mean, on his mantle. He specifically wants the sub over Meerschaert, so I would not be surprised. I also wouldn't be surprised if he finished by ground and pound either. But yeah, I believe him.
This one can go to Weezy. What's tough?
It's an acronym for the Ultimate Fighter. And if you don't know what an acronym is, I'm not explaining that. I am not your teacher. So yeah, no, it's just the Ultimate Fighter. Tough.
Yep. This one can go to me. Where's Gordo? Gordo is studying, I believe, for a final. There we go. And then this one can go to Monk. He says, I got Munhoz in my lineup. Bad decision.
I honestly don't. You heard me just preaching to Brady about put him in your lineup. He's got a good floor, man. 51-point floor. So that's just his average losses over the course of his career, and then added in the standard deviation to that. One of the largest floors on the card, and like I said, I think this is going all 3. So I think it's a good cash play. GPPs, I don't know about all that, but for cash, I like it.
You're right. Monk, on air, I'm going to change from Gibson to Munhoz.
Oh shit!
Are you going to remember that, or I'll put it in the chat?
No, I won't. No. Who are we kidding?
Right, I'll put it in the chat. Let's see. We answered that. We answered this. This one can go to the panel. What do you think the plus 3.5 spread will be on Lee? And do you like it? Well, on Bet Online, I saw it at plus 160, but that was on Monday. So I'm not sure they have that now.
Yes,
but
it's plus 160, of course.
But that was a play that I had written down. I don't completely hate it. Any thoughts on the plus 3.5? Do you guys think Andrea Lee can win 1 round?
Yes. I think this goes all 3, and I think she can win 1 round. Listen,
it's plus 115 now, though.
Holy see, a lot of people think that she can win 1 round.
I guess I should have pulled the trigger.
Damn.
Oh my gosh.
I'm saying if Cup Swanson can unanimously win 29-28, then anything's possible, right?
Yeah, man.
I guess I'm an idiot for passing on the plus 160. That is
but it seems like I don't know if the judges like Andrea Lee. That's something you got to really worry
I don't
about.
know that anybody likes Andrea Lee, but
yeah,
she's kind of digging her own grave as far as that goes.
she's gotten screwed by the judges, you know, especially in that Barber fight. So
yeah.
Who has finals in August? I had a final in August.
Hardworking boys, that's who.
I took a summer class and I had a final in August. But I think Gordo's doing like the 2-year college.
Yeah,
so
I think his is accelerated. So yeah.
Yeah, it's the next level stuff.
I mean, the boy switched countries to keep his shit going. So you know he's got it focused. You know what I'm
saying? Daniel likes seeing his name on the screen. It is nice. It is nice seeing your name on there on the screen. I always like it.
Not very covert, but yeah. It is.
And then this one can go. This is actually a question to the chat. Justin's asking what's up to the chat. So it's not for anybody on the panel.
So
that's for the.
Is your middle name Jay like Homer Simpson, or is it spelled out J-A-Y? Or is it just the letter J? Or is it J4Y?
I don't know. I call him Justin. Gordo is a very smart young man, that is for sure. All right, so what we're going to do, who's playing I want to play some virtual golf. I haven't played virtual golf in a while. I have my Oculus, but haven't used it in a while. But yeah, I say we get into our quick picks, and as always, I expect the pick, the round, and the method, and we'll start with our Uncle Weezy. What are your quick picks? Monk, do you like vegans?
Sure, but I mean, I wouldn't suggest that they go out to dinner with me. But yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Just don't watch me eat, and you'll be good too.
Yeah, my wife used to be a vegan, but not anymore. It's kind of annoying.
I could never, man. I'm born and raised in Omaha. We got the best steak in the country. I could never.
So Weezy, what are your quick picks for this week?
Okay, so we're going with Aljamain Sterling submission round 1. Weili Zhang knockout round 4. Ian Machado Garry submission round 2. Marlon Vera knockout round 3. I think he might be the first guy to finish Pedro Munhoz. I'm hoping he does because then I'll cash a good bet. Mario Batista knockout round 2, even though Damon Blackshear has never been finished, and that's if the scale doesn't finish Blackshear first. Brad Tavares with a rare knockout in round 2. Gregory Rodrigues knockout round 2. Austin Hubbard decision. Andre Petroski decision. Natalia Silva decision. And Marina Moroz submission round 3. And I don't the Gibson fight, I have no idea. I really don't know who's winning that fight. I haven't researched it yet. I got to get those stats in my we'll say it's Gibson's the underdog, so then I'll trust the books and I'll say that his Katona gets a win by decision.
All right, I'm going O'Malley round 4 knockout, Zhang round 3 knockout, Garry round 3 knockout, Munhoz decision, Tavares round 3 knockout, Rodrigues submission round 1, Hubbard decision, Meerschaert sub 3, Silva decision, Moroz sub 2, and then the Batista fight, I'll say Batista like sub or knockout round 2, and then the Katona fight, I'll say Katona decision. Monk, what are your quick picks for this week?
We got a lot of the same, and for the first time, I actually wrote down the methods, even though they're probably ridiculous. We'll go Karine Silva decision, Natalia Silva decision, the power of the Silvas. Petroski round 3 ground and pound TKO knockout. Brad Katona decision, Austin Hubbard decision. Rodrigues, Gregory, RoboCop Rodrigues round 2 KO TKO. Let's see, Tavares first round. Hopefully this is over quickly. Well, I shouldn't say that when it comes. I hope it's over safely and quickly. Mario Batista, round 2, rear naked choke on a very withered Damon Blackshear after 2 weight cuts. Cheeto Vera decision. Ian Machado Garry, round 3, KO TKO. And we agree, I think, with Weezy here. Zhang Weili, round 4, KO TKO. And then I'm going to go Aljamain Sterling by decision here. Aljamain by decision.
How do we get Gordo's lineup? I would hit up Gordo on Twitter, but he's probably super busy studying for.
He did say his stuff was going to be out at the end of the week, so maybe Friday evening. I would say you might be good to hit him up. You know, after this week, he's not going out partying or nothing, so he'll be around.
Yeah. All right. Well, we did it, everybody. Thank you for hanging out. Going to kick it around the panel. Uncle Weezy, what are your plans for the rest of the week for some content?
So just about done, I think. What I'm working on is the prize picks template. So I'm trying to put the finishing touches on that. I'm figuring out how I want to display the rest of the information. Other than that, I'll be doing a greasy 4-leg parlay on my channel, Uncle Weezy. And you can always find me right here on Pub Sports Radio every Saturday for the watch along, every Sunday for Stat Diggers with DFS by the numbers, and right here on Wednesday nights now for the DFS show. Let's all stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC 292 and bathe in the blood of our vanquished Draftkings enemies.
I was getting worried you weren't going to say it, but you always come through, so don't got to worry about that. Monk, what are your plans for some content, and what do you already have out for this week?
Yes, sir. I've got Game Theory out. Came out this morning. Would have been out Tuesday, but I'm glad I waited, or I would not have had all of the fights on there. So it is a 12-fight DFS breakdown for Game Theory out on the Monkmatics channel right now. Unnamed Nickname Show tomorrow, Thursday at 9 p.m. Central. Also on the Monkmatics channel. Come hit me up. We're just chilling live for about 45 minutes to an hour. Got some good nicknames in here. I don't know who's going to beat the Funk Master, but I guess you're going to have to tune in and find out. What do you mean,
There's got to be some better nicknames than the Funk Master.
I love the Funk Master.
So good.
It's a great nickname, man.
Hear that with his chain. Cheeto is good because if your name is your nickname, then it's a good fucking nickname. That's number one.
What about
what I'm saying?
Karina Killer Silva because she actually is a killer this time.
Yeah.
That's true. It is better than Juliana Killer
Oh,
Miller.
it's just
It is
cringe.
it is better. I said it is better.
It is.
So yeah, this
Much
killer
better.
is better. Plus, you got the alliteration with her first name. Another Iron Lady, even if it is in English, it's back-to-back weeks. RoboCop is pretty fucking good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there are some good ones. DeMonster was a very good one last week. I don't know what it's going to be this week. I don't think I can just change the score after 1 week, so I might have to stick with it. Might end up seeing Damone in the parlay. Who knows? Could be sketchy.
Could be. But yeah, guys, most of my content is out as well. We're gonna be going live Friday for some final thoughts, and then live Saturday for some best bet. I forget who's on. I think Patrick Addicted to Combat is on, and then Danny Betts is on as well. So those two, and so it should be a solid. What was that?
No, I said nice.
Oh,
yeah.
But yeah, guys,
Patrick and Danny Betts. Let's go.
It's a good panel. Good guys there. But yeah, guys, best of luck for UFC 292. And yeah, guys, go check out pubsportsradio.com. Sign up on that contest. Get the entry in so you don't forget about it. We have a couple days, but I'm going to be getting mine in tonight. Put all your picks in there. Winner gets $100. It's free to enter. It takes literally about 10. It's pretty easy. 10 seconds. Make your picks. Submit them. And that's that. Looking forward to seeing who's the winner. And I'll be sure to shout out the winner on Stat Diggers and then probably again on the DFS show as well. So we'll see if we can shout you out. Best of luck. We'll talk to you soon and see you guys later.